I told you the story about the windows. We had the phase 2 kind of done, the outer shell, but we didn't have windows. And so we were just playing around one Sunday. Mr. Straub, Mr. Levy, and I, we were sitting in the old library. One of the church members walked by, and I had already told these guys, look, we can put these windows in. Enos was convinced they were too expensive because they were $600 per window, and there were 17 windows plus the front doors. And I said, well, look, I'll give you the first $600, and I'll find 17 people to give $600. And I said, and we'll do it before Christmas. And that was about 3 weeks away. And I said, we're not taking pledges. This is cash money. Got to be ready to put it in the plate. And so one of our church members was walking down the hall, and she was a former English teacher, and so I used my very ungraceful Southern English and said, you know, with all them big bucks you're making over at the college, I know you can buy a window. And she said, what are you doing? I said, I'm selling windows. Well, to make a long story short, she walked down the hall, came back, asked me again, what are you doing? I said the same thing again. With all them big bucks you're making over at the college, I know you can afford a window. She came back and she said, oh, Marilyn, you know I cannot tell you no. Of course I'll buy a window. That was how it all got started. And some people heard about it, and they actually put money in for the windows, and I'd never even ask them about it. So it was kind of funny because we got it done that way. That was one example of just how we came about just raising some monies. We were able to burn the mortgage 6 months before I left. I think the legacy that Atholton will carry into the future is that it was God's plan for the school. He put those people there to make it possible for this to happen. He brought a staff together that has made the teaching possible. He brought finances together that made the whole thing possible. And even though you're facing major challenges moving forward financially, God will provide if it continues to be God's school. If He is put first, He will always help those in leadership find a way to make it to the end goal. It's hard to question the legitimacy of the school when you know the history of the school and you know how hard people fought to make it happen, how hard they worked to see it to completion. And that to me is one of the most valuable things that Atholton has, is that history is what will carry it into the future as they look back and see how God led them in the past.